Hey everyone, it's Andre Luck here to share my video for this week where I'm going to talk through here at Four Leaf our go-to-market strategy. So how are we marketing the business? How are we going out and acquiring new customers? And what's our process? Obviously, it's still very new, very fresh, but a long way to go. But it's been an interesting journey so far. So wanted to share that. I think one of the things that's most similar to being in a sales role is we talk a lot about when sales, you're running your own small business. And I definitely would liken what we're doing to that. And I think it's really good practice that, so many years for me being in sales of what that looks like to build a network, grow a book of business, establish relationships, and leverage those for long-term revenue success. So that's probably the biggest thing. I say, there's so many things that you're doing on a day-to-day basis when you're running a business that's more administrative. And those are things you have to do, things you have to get set up, whether it's from the technology side or paperwork or, financial things. But you have to make time to do outreach. And that's why I see a lot of founders, you hear about a lot of founders that, hire someone to run the revenue side, a CRO or someone to run their sales. But if you're a founder, you definitely have to be someone who's out there, who's proactive, creating content, getting awareness about the problem and the solution it is that you solve out in the marketplace so people can recognize you with the brand and with the company. And that can't be something that you do every now and again. That has to be something that's consistent. So, internally, we're very diligent about that. And I'll talk through what our strategy is from a content creation standpoint. But one of the things that I'm super appreciative of is, going back 5+ years, I was consistently active on LinkedIn. And it started at once a month, and then it became once a week, then a few times a week. And now it's, pretty much every day throughout the week, I'm posting something that's of value, that's educational, that's targeted towards the audience that, I'm looking to speak to. But through the years, that's helped build up a network for me in sports across the sports industry and even locally here in Miami as I was, networking and connecting with local business leaders. I had a strong network when I branched out to into entrepreneurship and to start Four Leaf. So, once we got going, really tapped into that network. So, when I posted on LinkedIn, a ton of people reached out, which was great. And getting started, you kind of are wondering, all right, where's business going to come from? Who is this going to work? Is it not going to work? So I took meetings with everybody. Anyone that reached out, I took a meeting, whether they were in sports, out of sports, local or not. Tried to be as tailored as I can, but anyone I talked to, whether it was running ideas by them or learning how their business works or what are some of the challenges and problems they face so that the 2 months before we officially launched, I had had conversations, multiple times per week. So really leveraging that and getting, my pitch out there, really starting to hone in what's the value proposition that we offer and who is the ideal customer that we serve. So when the time came, we're in a really good spot. So I would say whether you're experienced in sales or you're new to getting into sales or new to starting your business, take as many meetings as possible. Talk to as many people out there as you have the time and bandwidth to do, and just continue to build relationships and grow your network. I think if we're too transactional, too focused, that I need to meet with someone who's going to purchase from me now, especially in like a strategic type sale, like that doesn't happen right away. That's something that takes relationships, that builds over time. You hear a lot from people that sales is a relationship business, and that's true, but it takes time to form and build those relationships. So if you're not going into it asking or expecting, and that will be kind of the theme throughout this, but truly trying to provide value and building genuine relationships over time, if you are clear about what it is that you serve, people are going to come across others that may be in their network, or they're going to hear your message and it resonates with them, and they're going to want to speak with you about what it is that you do. So the first thing for us is really tapping into our current network, whether it's, old colleagues, friends, old coworkers, people that, we're connected with. That was the first step. I talked about creating content. So Brittany, she's my wife, co-founder. She handles a lot of our social media content on Instagram, Facebook, everything like that. And it is our goal to make sure that we're putting something out there on a daily basis because we know not everyone's going to see it every single day. For us, it may be fatigue because we feel like we're wearing people out, but if you just think through brands and companies that you follow, you don't see everything that they post every single day unless you're diligently following, which is great for us if somebody is, but always being present. And as I said earlier, in the moment, we may not be the right fit for someone, or they may not be in market for our services. But each time that we post content, if it's valuable, if it's relevant, educational, even humorous, shows our personal side, that starts to log in people's memory what it is that we do, what it is that we stand for, the values that are important to us, and if them as people or if their business would align with us as well. So on the Instagram, Facebook side, she handles that. I handle our LinkedIn and then also my personal LinkedIn and just building that brand. But being present and showing up and not necessarily measuring the vanity metrics, as we call it, the likes, the comments, like those are great. But is business coming from that? Are people reaching out? Because I could look at a post and do something that's broad just to get a lot of likes and get a lot of follows and engagement. But if you have a broad message, sometimes that's not going to help drive business because it was so broad that it reached so many different people. I want to speak specifically to my persona. And for me, on the sports side, I'm blessed because I know that persona inside and out. I was the persona that I'm selling to. I was a VP of sales. I've been a director of sales. So that's typically the people that, I'm speaking to and speaking with, and I can address their problems. Or when I get on a meeting with someone, I have a very high level of expertise in what it is that they're doing. We can talk numbers and, future planning and things like that. Anytime you're selling into a persona, you want to get to that level. So for me, it was fortunate, but not everyone's going to be that fortunate as a salesperson. So that's where it takes time, repetition, doing research. I coach a lot about using Chat GPT and other tools to get up to speed very quickly. But that's just high level information that you're going to get that helps differentiate you from others, but it doesn't make you an expert on the subject or that persona. It's going to be conversations that you have with those people every single time you go on a meeting, as you get to know them, as you get well ingrained into that industry and that trade. Like a lot of people want to focus and niche down into a particular industry, and there's benefits to doing that. If you spread too thin, you're never going to be an expert in anything. But if you could really speak to the challenges that someone in that role faces, and if how you can be a fit or how you can provide a solution for that, they're going to trust you more. You're going to get more business that way. So at least for me, that's where a lot of the focus is. And then us as a business on the non-sports side, on the corporate side, our expertise is in home services. So when we're going outbound and we're looking to target new companies that potentially we could partner with, we're going to start there. We have a roofing client, we worked with construction companies, those in that home services space. Like that is where we can speak very knowledgeably, and we have a lot of expertise as it relates to running social media, building out a website, running paid ads. If anyone comes inbound outside of that, we're definitely going to take the call and be transparent that, hey, this isn't our expertise, but we have a framework and a process that we think could be replicated to that industry. But that's where we're going to target, because we know as we go outbound to someone and you're reaching out to someone cold, you can catch their attention by speaking directly to what it is that they're going through and showing relevance and showing that you understand. You're not just sending a spray and pray blanket general message to everyone out there like, hey, here are our services, we help companies, but you could speak specifically to owners of roofing companies, owners of construction companies, the challenges that we know that they face at different stages in their growth cycle, and where we think we could fit in and provide the best assistance to help them reach their growth targets or whatever their goals are. So that's for us. When we go outbound, we're hyper focused. We know exactly who it is that we're looking to target, and that I would encourage to anybody as they're going outbound with their sales efforts. Know who it is that you're looking to speak with and speak to that persona. If you can know more about the industry, that's great too. But make sure that you're speaking to the persona, whether it's a VP of sales, it's a head of marketing, it's a CEO, it's a president. What are the challenges that they face within their particular industry? I think another opportunity for really anyone in sales, but that we've really leaned into, is the relationships with the local Chamber of Commerce. So we live in Coral Gables. The Coral Gables Chamber is amazing. I worked with them previously when I worked with the Marlins, but they've been great because it allows you to now develop stronger relationships locally within our community. And that's another one where you can't go into it being transactional. I think a lot of people go into relationships with the chamber like, all right, we got to see an ROI on this. And anytime I felt myself, I put pressure on myself or my sales team, like, right, if we go to this event or if we do this thing at a chamber, we need to be able to directly tie it back to sales and revenue. Like you're going in with the wrong intentions and it's not going to be genuine, authentic, and people can feel that. The way the chambers work and where I've seen people fully maximize it is showing up consistently, providing value, not coming and asking, but how can you serve and how can you help? So joining different committees, um, sharing what it is that you do and asking how you can help or introduce them to other people within your network. And then over time, organically, those relationships forge. And then if they know someone that needs your services, they're going to connect you and they're going to trust you and they have that relationship built. So in any market that you're in, I would encourage get ingrained with the local chamber of commerce. If there's specific associations to the industries that you target, like get to know those. There's roofing associations, there's housing associations, there's real estate committees, things like that, where you can get even more ingrained within those industries and show them what it is that you can do to serve them and provide solutions for them. LinkedIn is big. I think if it's worth the investment to upgrade and get LinkedIn Sales Navigator, whether you're a founder who's doing outreach and doing founder sales or just a salesperson or sales leader. There's so many filters and features that you can do to target, build out lead lists. So for me, it helps me just stay in tune with everything that's going on within the industry. So I'll build lead lists of people in a particular persona that it is that we work with. And if I see some news, I can comment on it. I could see it. I could like it. I can engage with it. Or if there's nothing of relevance that I could provide, at least keeps me aware of like, oh, this person's posting. Here are some things that are happening, or this person changed jobs. Like you could stay on top of those things versus, you know, you're not going to find that out if you're not continuously on it. And with regular LinkedIn, there's limitations on, the different lists you could build and the news and information that you get and the notifications that you get. So I definitely think it's worth the investment. I think it's like less than $100 per month to get LinkedIn Sales Navigator. I would encourage anybody who's doing high level B2B sales to have that and use that as a tool. This morning, I was looking through, we get mail with local publications all the time. And I was just looking through and seeing all the different companies there. So whether it was the local City of Coral Gables magazine that a lot of companies are advertising on, there was like a Florida Villagers or something like that with different companies advertising and showcasing what it is that they provide. Like those are good ways for me locally to know, all right, who are the companies that are advertising because that means they're looking to grow their business. They're looking potentially for marketing support. I'm not going to necessarily go direct and say, hey, I know you're advertising. You should come with our services, but I'll start to follow them. I'll maybe connect with them, see if I have relationships already within that organization. But that's a regular practice of just going through the magazines before my wife recycles them, just to clean up the house a little bit, but looking through and seeing what are the local companies, what's going on at the local companies, who are people that we can connect with and engage with is, part of our focus is locally here within our community. And if we see people in that home services space, those are companies that we could target or at least know that here's where people are putting information out there. Here's where people are consuming information within the persona that we target. So I think that's a good one as well. Whatever that is for your industry, your community, looking at those more segmented hyper-focused type publications that will list out companies, list out what they do, and that becomes now another lead list for you to help you get more educated and become more of an expert within that field. And anything that is industry specific, whether it's events like I talked about, or again, publications, that's going to help you a ton as you're doing your prospecting efforts. But at the end of the day, for us, it's about building for what the future will be. We're not trying to just close deals very quickly. If they come, that's great. But we're very intentional about putting out content, creating awareness for things that may come to fruition down the road. A lot of people, like, oh, I wish I had started posting or creating content years ago. The next best day to do that is today. So although you may not see the returns from it, you're putting yourself in the best spot long term and in the short term by creating content that's valuable, that's relevant to your target audience, and doing that on a consistent basis so that you're always staying top of mind. When they need something, they know who exactly to go to, and they're specifically clear on what it is that you do and how you can serve them. And I know it's tough sometimes, but if you are an expertise, you may gain more credibility and trust by saying, hey, I could help you with this, but I know this person who's an expert in that field. I'm going to refer you to them because I think they could help you better. That business at some point down the road is going to come back to you. So thinking through that, not spreading yourself too thin, but knowing specifically it is who you work with, specifically it is what you provide, and who it is that you can provide the best service to, and go after those people and really target them. So hopefully this was helpful. Would love to get feedback if anyone has any thoughts, comments, anything like that. But I'll be back again next week with another video. Thanks.